There's a feeling that almost every one of us has experienced at some point in life. Jealousy. Jealousy, it's a word we all know, but how many of us truly understand it? Sometimes it sneaks up on us without warning. It clouds our mind, unsettles our heart, and leaves us feeling exhausted. Some people say, if you love someone, of course you'll feel jealous. It sounds logical, right? But is that really true? If love is meant to bring happiness to both people, then why does jealousy often bring so much pain? If love is a choice made freely, then why does jealousy turn us into people who want to control, to question, or even punish the one we love? Have you ever asked yourself, why am I feeling jealous? Is it because the other person did something wrong? Or is it because, deep down, we're struggling with our own insecurities? Jealousy isn't just their problem or my problem. It's a quiet storm that brews in the hearts of anyone who loves. It doesn't always make sense, and yet it feels so real. But here's the good news. If we can understand that storm, we can learn to calm it. And when that happens, love becomes lighter, calmer, and more peaceful. So today, let's take a journey together. A journey to understand jealousy, from its roots to its causes, and finally to the ways we can heal from it. Listen closely, because maybe, just maybe, this is something you need to hear too. What is jealousy? Did you know? Jealousy, at its core, is not the enemy of love. In fact, it's a natural part of it. People often say, if you're in love, you're bound to feel jealous. And to a certain extent, that's true. When we love someone, we naturally want to feel special to them. We want to be their one and only, the person they cherish above all else. But here's the part most of us don't realize. Jealousy isn't always born from love. Sometimes it comes from fear. Fear of being left behind, fear of not being enough, fear that one day the person we love might no longer need us. If we're being honest, jealousy is really a mix of love and insecurity. That's why even when there's no third person in sight, our minds can still create them. Have you ever been in that situation? You see your partner smile at someone, or they get a message from a name you don't recognize. Suddenly your mind goes into overdrive. You start imagining scenarios, overthinking every little detail, and before you know it, you've made yourself miserable. But have you noticed something? The more you give in to jealousy, the more you suffer. You're not just hurt by your own thoughts, but also by your actions. You start questioning your partner, checking their phone, or constantly needing reassurance. Over time, the warmth of love gets replaced by the weight of doubt. And the person you love? They no longer feel loved, only pressured, trapped, and emotionally drained. The truth is, jealousy itself is not the problem. The real problem is how we respond to jealousy. If you let jealousy control you, it turns you into a warden instead of a partner. But if you learn to understand and manage it, jealousy can transform. It can become a gentle warmth that reminds you to cherish love instead of a wildfire that burns everything down. Jealousy isn't evil. What's harmful is letting it steer you away from the path of true love. Two as one, one as two. You may have heard a phrase that goes something like this. You and I are two, yet one. I am one with you, yet still two. At first it might sound a little confusing, almost contradictory. But hidden within these words is a profound philosophy about love and happiness. When we love someone, we often want to become one with them. We want our lives to intertwine, to share in each other's joys and sorrows. That's why people say things like, "What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine." But here's a question to think about. Does being one mean losing your individuality? Does loving someone mean giving up everything that makes you you in order to become a reflection of them? Absolutely not. The idea of two as one means that while you and your partner share a life together, you each still have your own world. You have your own passions, interests, and dreams. They have theirs too. Love is not about turning the other person into a copy of yourself. Love is about embracing each other's differences and learning to grow together without losing your sense of self. On the flip side, one as two reminds us that even though you and your partner are two distinct people, your hearts are deeply connected. Their pain becomes your pain. Their happiness becomes your happiness. But here's the paradox. The tighter you try to hold on to someone, the further they feel from you. Yet, when you learn to loosen your grip, they often come closer. Love isn't about control. It's about trust. It's about giving the other person the freedom to be themselves and trusting that in that freedom, they will still choose you. When you understand this philosophy of two is one is two, you stop trying to control your partner. Instead, you learn how to walk side by side with them. True happiness in love doesn't come from gripping tightly or letting go entirely. It comes from learning how to hold on the right way. When you realize that the person you love is not something you own, love becomes lighter, freer, and so much more beautiful. Jealousy. Who is it really about? When jealousy strikes, the first question we often ask ourselves is, who am I jealous of? Is it because our partner has been unfaithful? Or is it because a third person has entered the picture? But if you pause for a moment and look deeper, you'll realize something surprising. We're not jealous because of them. We're jealous because of ourselves. Let me ask you a few questions. Why are you so afraid of losing them? Why do you feel insecure when they smile or laugh with someone else? Why do you doubt them even when you have no proof that something is wrong? The answer lies within you. Deep down, we're afraid that we're not enough. We fear being replaced. And that fear doesn't come from the other person, it comes from our own insecurity. It's that inner voice that whispers, what if I'm not good enough? What if they find someone better? And from that fear, jealousy is born. Think about it. Have you ever seen your partner talking and laughing with someone else, and suddenly your mind starts creating wild stories? You imagine they're flirting. You imagine there's something more going on. But what's the reality? Most of the time, it's just a normal conversation. So, who is jealousy really about? It's not about your partner. It's not about a third person. It's about you and the doubts you have about your own worth. The less confidence you have in yourself, the more you'll see everyone as a threat. The more insecure you feel, the more likely you are to fall into the trap of jealousy. You start questioning them. You start checking their phone. You ask them where they've been, who they've been with, and why they didn't reply right away. And here's the sad part. You think that by holding on tighter, you'll keep them close. But the truth is, the tighter you hold on, the more they want to let go. So how do we break free from this cycle? Here's something to remember. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to recognize your own worth. When you know your value, you'll realize that you don't need to fight for someone's love. Because if someone truly loves you, they'll stay willingly. You won't have to force them to stay. So, now that you've heard all of this, ask yourself again, who am I really jealous of? The answer is clear. Sometimes we're not jealous of other people at all. We're battling our own fears and insecurities. But here's the good news. If you can face those fears and heal those insecurities, jealousy will have no power over you anymore. How to love without jealousy? So how do you love without feeling jealous? Does loving without jealousy mean you have to be indifferent? Not at all. Loving without jealousy doesn't mean being careless or turning a blind eye to your partner's actions. It means loving with awareness, wisdom, and freedom. It's about loving with a heart that's steady, not shaken by every little doubt. But how do we achieve that? Here are 5 essential steps to help you love without jealousy. 1. Understand that no one belongs to anyone. The first step is to understand that your partner is not your possession. They're not something you can own or control. Love isn't about possession. Love is about partnership. Everyone has the right to freedom, and love is only beautiful when it's a choice made willingly, not out of fear or pressure. The more you let go of the need to control, the lighter and more peaceful your love will feel. 2. Learn to trust and communicate honestly. Trust isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's built slowly, over time. If doubts arise, don't resort to checking their phone, overanalyzing their actions, or making assumptions. Instead, have an honest conversation. Sometimes one open, heartfelt conversation is all it takes to understand your partner's feelings and intentions. With that clarity, trust grows stronger, and jealousy has no reason to exist. 3. Focus on your self-worth. When you know your worth, you stop worrying about being replaced by someone else. Why? Because you know, deep down, that you are worthy of love and respect. Take care of yourself. Nurture your physical health, mental well-being, and personal goals. Build a life you're proud of. When you shine from within, no one can dim your light. 4. Accept that love comes with challenges. Love isn't always smooth sailing. There will be moments of stress, exhaustion, and times when your partner needs space to recharge. Don't rush to conclusions or let your insecurities fill in the blanks. Instead, be a compassionate partner. Be the one who listens and understands, not the one who interrogates. 5. Learn the difference between letting go and letting be. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on love. It means releasing the need to control things that are beyond your reach. Sometimes, the harder you try to hold on, the more you lose. But if you learn to let be, allowing things to unfold naturally, you may find that love returns to you on its own. Here's something to remember. The more you try to trap someone, the more they'll want to break free. But if you give them space to breathe, they'll have every reason to stay. To wrap it up, loving without jealousy doesn't mean being distant or uncaring. It means learning to love smarter, not harder. Love is not a prison where we lock someone away. Love is a journey where we walk side by side. If you can understand and practice these 5 steps, your love will not only last, but it will also be lighter, freer, and filled with lasting joy. Remember this: love isn't about holding on or letting go. It's about learning how to hold on the right way. Reflecting on jealousy, the journey, the lessons, the growth. So, we've come to the end of our journey, a journey to understand jealousy. We've explored its nature, its roots, and most importantly, how to overcome it. Here's one thing I hope you'll take away. Jealousy is not inherently bad. It's a natural part of love, a sign that you care. But it's also a mirror that reflects the insecurities within us. Sometimes we feel jealous not because our partner has done something wrong, but because we haven't fully learned to trust ourselves. Love isn't about control, and it's definitely not a prison. If love requires constant monitoring, questioning, and suspicion, then both people in the relationship will eventually feel exhausted. True love isn't about possession, it's about partnership. So instead of trying to hold on to someone, learn to trust, understand, and let go of control. The tighter you try to hold on, the more likely they are to slip away. But when you become a safe place, a partner they feel at peace with, they'll choose to stay. Loving without jealousy doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It's actually a sign of emotional maturity. It's the love of someone who understands freedom. It's the love of someone who chooses patience, trust, and peace over control. So I'll leave you with one simple but powerful question. Am I jealous because I love them? Or am I jealous because I'm afraid? If you can answer that question honestly, you'll understand where your jealousy is really coming from. And when you understand it, you'll be able to love in a way that feels lighter, freer, and more joyful. Thank you for listening. I hope this reflection has given you something meaningful to hold on to as you continue your journey of love and self-discovery.